This film was produced to assist the rigger in securing the maximum use from wire rope slings and to assure safe performance. Wire rope slings are considered to be the most versatile, most economical, and one of the safest methods of coupling a hoisting device to a load that must be lifted. Riggers using wire rope slings must be capable of selecting the right sling and then using it properly. It's often said, a rigger is only as good as his tools. Here are some of the basic rules of rigging. Wear protective clothing at all times. The minimum requirements should include a hard hat, safety glasses, gloves, and safety shoes. Know the rated capacity of the sling. Be sure the sling to be used is strong enough for the job. Keep in mind that various hitches have different lifting capabilities. Sling manufacturers make charts available which show the rated capacity of slings for different hitches and fittings. Know the condition of all slings, shackles, hooks, and other lifting equipment. Make a careful inspection before and after each use. Broken wires, crushed sections, knots, kinks, or bends may reduce the strength of the sling to a dangerous point. Prevent damage. Slings should receive adequate care. They are not indestructible. Bending a sling around sharp objects or a small diameter pin reduces its strength by stretching the outer strands of the cable. Once a sling has been damaged, it will no longer share the load equally. Avoid unnecessary wear and abrasion. Surface wear may be caused by one part of a sling rubbing against another part, or by pulling the sling over rough or sharp objects which cut the outer wires. When possible, avoid wire-to-wire contact. Use eye bolts carefully. Many loads are fitted with eye bolts to simplify attachment of the slings. Eye bolts may be used if the pull is transmitted to them straight along the bolt axis. Use caution when the pull is at a sharp angle. They are not designed to carry a sideways pull. Stay clear of suspended loads. A cardinal safety rule in rigging is to stay clear of any load being lifted. This also means that the rigger should stand back far enough so that if the load falls, he will not be trapped should it roll or tumble. Maintain control. Use a hitch that will keep the load under control at all times. A hitch that allows the load to become unbalanced or to rotate introduces the possibility of losing control and causing an accident. Keep the load balanced. Always aim to lift the load level with the crane hook directly over the center of gravity. Careful adjustment of the lengths of the various slings is necessary to do this, but it pays off in excellent control of the load. Don't jerk the load. Lift the load with care, accelerating smoothly. When lifting, fast acceleration or stopping can impose terrific shock loads to the sling, often greater than the rated capacity of the sling. Always use a tag line when moving a load through the air. A slight wind or twist in the cable can start the load spinning and cause loss of control. Watch the vertical angle. The angle formed by a sling and the vertical has a definite effect on the rated capacity of the sling. As the angle increases from the vertical or straight pull, the amount of lifting capacity decreases. A load of 2,000 pounds lifted with a two-leg sling on a straight pull has 1,000 pounds tension on each leg. With the same load of 2,000 pounds and a two-leg sling at an angle of 30 degrees from the vertical, the tension on each leg is increased to 1,155 pounds. If the sling angle is increased to 60 degrees from the vertical, the tension has increased to 2,000 pounds on each leg. When the sling angle is rigged at 85 degrees from the vertical, the tension on each leg is increased to 11,490 pounds, or more than 5 times the weight of the load being lifted. When the sling legs must be spread to a wide vertical angle, particular care is required in selecting the correct sling size. Use extreme caution when using a vertical angle greater than 60 degrees. Due to low headroom, it may be necessary to lift a load with an excessive vertical angle. Stay away from this situation wherever possible. But if there is no alternate, the following method can be used. Wrap the load with multiple laps of wire rope and secure the ends with cable clips. Place a shackle around all the strands, making sure that each leg carries its share of the divided load. Of the 4 basic hitches, the simplest is the single leg hitch. One eye of the sling is attached to the load at a convenient location, and the other eye is placed on the lifting hook. Single leg hitches are dangerous for 2 reasons: poor load control and the possibility of dropping the load. The second type is the single leg choker hitch. The sling is placed around the load with the eye joined to the lifting cable by the use of a shackle. The shackle pin is always placed in the eye of the sling. If placed on the lifting leg of the sling, movement might cause the pin to come loose. When using a choker hitch, the strength of the wire rope may be reduced by as much as 25% due to the sharp bend around the shackle. Additional loss of strength will be caused by the vertical angle where the sling eye is secured to the lifting leg. When using the choker hitch, a sliding hook is superior to the shackle and pin. The hook has a larger radius than the shackle, thus reducing the tension on the outer wires of the sling and the shearing action caused by the smaller radius of the shackle. A block of wood placed between the load and the choker hitch will add some stability by providing more contact between the hitch and the load. The wooden block will also reduce the vertical angle where the sling eye is fastened to the lifting line. Riggers sometimes use the choker hitch placed at the approximate center of gravity. When this is done, the load can be easily thrown out of balance, and the entire load may slide out of the hitch. To reduce this danger, a double wrap choker hitch will provide contact with the load for a full 360 degrees. A single leg hitch provides little control over the load and should be avoided when possible. In most all cases, a second sling can be used to provide better control. 2 choker hitches, if separated along the load so that the center of gravity lies between them, will form a stable hitch. The third type hitch is the single basket hitch. Even though only one sling is used, 2 legs of the sling support the load, and tension on each leg is equalized. The single basket hitch is stable only when the center of gravity is below the point where the sling is attached to the load. double basket hitch is formed by the use of two slings. Round objects are usually more difficult to hold because of the smooth surface. If a shaft or a roll is being lifted, keep the wire rope behind shoulders, collars, or other suitable stops to prevent slippage along the smooth surface. To reduce the danger of the slings sliding together, the vertical angle should be no more than 45 degrees, and preferably 30 degrees or less. When using a double basket hitch on wooden boxes or crates, careful examination of the crate construction is necessary to avoid crushing. The wire rope will dig into the wood at the edges of the crate and tend to keep the slings from slipping. An equalizing bar may be used with a double basket hitch to reduce the tendency of the slings to slide together. The equalizing bar should have provisions to balance the load by an adjustable center eye, or the use of a come-along or chain block to support the heavy end of the load. Since the double basket hitch has a tendency to slide together, a double wrap will add stability to prevent this slipping action and will increase control of the load being lifted. The double wrap exerts pressure all around the load and ensures a full 360-degree contact. Never use a basket hitch for turning. The sliding action between the wire rope and the work being turned may cause tearing of the sling, and on machine pieces may cause serious damage to the finished surfaces. If a piece of equipment must be turned, a single or double choker hitch will grip the piece without slipping. A rule of thumb to follow is to point the cable eye in a direction opposite to the direction of the turn. This will keep the choker hitch tight and prevent slipping. The fourth type hitch is the bridle hitch, which is composed of two or more legs. Each leg is attached directly to the load being lifted. The multiple legs give good stability plus added strength, and direct attachment to the load will minimize the danger of the load slipping. Slings of different lengths may have to be used to keep the lifting hook directly over the center of gravity. Again, the vertical angle of the slings must be considered when calculating their lifting capacity. Protection of slings and equipment is of primary importance. The use of cable guards or softeners around sharp corners will reduce serious loss of strength of the sling and possible damage to the load. Softeners may be fabricated from wooden blocks, layers of heavy belting, or other heavy, pliable material. Short pieces of pipe split lengthwise will form a larger radius around a sharp corner and reduce the shearing action on the sling. When lifting fragile crates or equipment with a light metal housing, the crushing effect caused by the slings may cause the load to collapse. Spreader bars made of metal or wood will overcome this side thrust and avoid damage. If a wooden spreader bar is used, it is suggested that the ends be notched and a bolt be placed through a hole at the base of the notch to resist splitting. When using a sling to support a chain block or other hoisting device from an overhead beam, an extra wrap will prevent the sling from slipping around or along the beam. By setting an oak block on the top flange and along each side of the bottom flange, both the sling and beam can be protected from damage. The angle from the vertical is again an important factor in selecting the proper size sling. When doing any lifting that employs more than one sling leg, a shackle should be used to collect the various legs. The pin of the shackle should be placed in the lifting hook. Placing more than one part of a sling in the hook may distort the hook to the danger point. Remember, wear protective clothing. Know the rated capacity of the sling. Know the condition of all lifting equipment. Prevent damage. Avoid unnecessary wear and abrasion. Use eye bolts carefully. Stay clear of suspended loads. Maintain control. Keep the load balanced. Don't jerk the load. Make use of a tag line. Watch the vertical angle. By following these basic rules of rigging, sling life should be prolonged, accidents should be prevented, and damage to expensive equipment can be minimized. Safety in rigging can never be overemphasized.